Welcome back to Right as Rain. I've got Shae Holmes with me. It's always great to be with a dog, especially because the last few days here at the Mariners, they've been doing other college nights and they had Oregon and Wazoo. So it's been terrible. So I needed this as a
Yeah, what the
refreshing.
heck?
Shae, it's great to have you on. Just wanted to, before we get into things, how have you been feeling getting back into the swing of things? I know a lot of you guys have been training, um, sometimes with eight players,
hmm
Laura said, but just how have things been for you on the player side? Because on the media side, it's just been kind of weird. You guys, obviously we're on the road for June.
hmm
We're kind of getting back into things, but we're not, full go. How have the last few weeks, months been for you?
Yeah, I mean it's been weird a little bit just because yeah, we had I think when everyone came back from the CBA break, we had genuinely like 7 to 8 players that were like consistently in. So we had a lot of training players. But it was nice in a sense of like it was just something that we looked at as like, okay, every day, like we just have to keep the standard that we've had throughout season, just with whoever's here, and we know the standard with whoever st was not on international duty, not on like, yeah, whatever it was, Euros, we had US, we had an Asian Cup with G, like so it was all over the place. So I just think it was holding the 8 of us that were here to the standards that we've had all season, but then also bringing those training players with us. Like every time we had games or sorry, trainings, it was like a mix. So it was like we would have a few of the training players on one team, and then a few of us on the one team. So it was kind of just even though we had a little bit of adversity with it, it was just pulling them with us and being like, hey, here's what we normally do. Here's how we normally play and keep it. Like, you got it. We're encouraging you, but then also keeping our technical and tactical principles as high as it could be during that time. But yeah, I think it was. I feel good going into like this next half of season. I'm sure I can speak a little bit for the rest of the of everyone that was around here. I feel like we did really good at kind of building into our weeks. So like, yeah, we came back and it was a lighter load to just get our feet back underneath us and just like really focus on the technical pieces. And then yeah, it was like the last 2 weeks. It's been nice to build up on that and kind of be like, okay, now we're getting back in the swing of things, and we can put our workload a little bit higher leading into this past game this weekend. So I know everyone as wonky as it was, I feel like we're all excited to have everyone back. It feels like our family's whole again, but it's not like we didn't not put the work in when everyone was gone because we knew they were doing the hard work on duty. So we had to put that same effort back here on the field to pick them up to speed when they got back. So hopefully it felt like it flowed seamlessly.
Speaking of, trying to get things to flow seamlessly, in, the recent weeks, obviously the club signed Mia Fishel. That was a big
Mhm.
deal. I- This is maybe less serious, less like you talked about the tactics, right? As a player, because, I know there's that aspect of it, and I know you are a fan, of different sports as well. What are your emotions like when you find out about a big signing like this? Because obviously for the fans, the
Mhm.
club posts the big fish. There's all this bubbling. Like, what do you get the same sort of emotions? What is it like for you knowing that, the club is adding, a big piece, not only for, this season, you talk about the big
Mhm.
second half, but
Yeah.
obviously for the long term as well.
Yeah, I just feel like we get just as excited. Obviously, when we always hear something, we're like, okay, there's like some rumors or names being flown around. And then when we get that text of like, hey, we'll have a little bit of an announcement, then everyone's like, oh. So I feel like we get the same emotion as you guys. And what's nice about it is like it also just not like it doesn't change on who it's been. Like I feel like every new person that's come into this like team, if I've known them, I've had the same response like, okay, great, we get some new qualities. Like, who is this player? Where'd they come from? Like, what's their skill set? So you like learn more about them, or if other people on the team have known them, then you kind of ask around, like, what are they like, personality wise, on and off the field. What's nice with Mia specifically is I've played with her in youth camps. So like we were in our youth stuff. With the US. And then we went to CONCACAF, the U20s. That was the year I think she was also a part of me with that group with Laura, that one year before COVID. So it's just nice. It's a familiar face to me. So when I heard it, I was like, okay, great. This is like throwing me back. I also played against her a little bit in college because like she went to UCLA. So for me, like for her as a signing, it was kind of like familiar. And it was more like, okay, this is great. This is another skill set that either we have a little bit more like we need a little bit more of or it's like okay great she's going to bring a whole new like asset of scoring goals and like just getting on the ball so I just feel like it was we were all so excited but just dependent on the players like you're either excited because you're like okay what is this person going to come in and how are they going to elevate the team or it's like I knew Mia and I'm like I know who the person she is off the field unreal, like the sweetest person, but then also on the field, I know what she brings and the qualities she's bring. And yeah, it's just a cool connection to like cycle back in from our youth days too.
You know, it's funny because I totally blanked on this until you started mentioning playing. The big connection that I don't know if you watched the press conference with her at all, but everyone's like, "Hey, you're a big you like to fish.
Yeah.
When are you and Shae Holmes gonna hang out and do that?" Everyone was like, "Shay's gonna show you all these places." Um, so has that been talked about yet? Or, I'm
Yeah,
sure the rain.
the first day she came in, she was like, "Hey, so I know you fish." And 'cause like obviously I'm gonna put all the a little bit of rumors to bed, not anything like that, but yes, I love fishing. Don't get me wrong, but the boyfriend is the one that got me into it. So I can't take all the credit that I'm like, "Hey, this big fisherwoman." I'm more of a catcher. I'm like, if I don't catch a fish in 2 hours, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I need to be catching it to like really be in deep in it. But I do enjoy it doing it with other people. So, like, because I do it with my boyfriend, he plays abroad right now. So it's like, it's just me. So any person I get, he's always like, oh, you have a fishing buddy now. I'm like, okay, great. He bought me my own rod a couple years ago. So, like, I have a rod. So I told Mia, I was like, oh, yeah, I can for sure do that. So, I have my rod. Mia's gonna get hers up here, and Maddie Darlene today just said that she wants to buy one. Sam and Alex or Sam's girlfriend, like they're both in. Like we're gonna have a squad. We're gonna have a fishing squad who's gonna be rolling out, and we're gonna be catching some either bass or hopefully like some carp maybe in the heat of the summers. We want like the bigger fish, you know? So like but yeah, no, it definitely was talked about the first day. We were laughing about it. I was like, I got you. I know all the big spots near UW. Maddie Darlene, she said she's gonna try to renew her boat license. I'm like, perfect. We got a driver. We need a place just to find a boat. I was like, and then we'll just go out in we'll go out on our own little group and rally up some fish. So catch and release.
This is perfect. I mean, if the rain would like to take the content idea of miking you guys up,
Yeah,
they, please, I know people would love
great.
that.
Yeah,
That
great.
was it was as soon as like they posted the teaser video, I was like, okay, is Shay involved in this? What's going on?
Everyone thought it was such a missed opportunity that I just wasn't the one in the video to be able to help them out
Yes.
with it. I was like, I know.
Hmm.
I was like, SMH, I could have brought up one of my videos from catching my big muskie a while ago. Who knows? Could have helped out mate like massively, but it's fine. I get it. Next time.
You wouldn't have even needed to act. You could have just gone through what you normally do. There you go. That is perfect. That is more than I expected. All right. Um, this will lead into the leadership I wanted to talk about because for those who aren't aware, in the post-match press conference after the Urawa match, uh, asked head coach Laura Harvey about Shea Holmes wearing the captain's armband because I think that was cool. I believe the Chicago match when Lou came off, you
Mhm.
wore that as well. Um, but Laura talked about journeys and different journeys that you've been on, with the injuries that you've dealt with and, working to earn minutes here. And now it's, this different leadership journey. Just to reflect a little bit on, I don't know how far you want to take it. We could go back to UW. That'd be a
Yeah.
long time. But just the journey that Trey Holmes has been on to get from UW here, to where you're at now with the Reign.
Yeah. Well, first off, I just want to say like I feel like coming into this club and just looking up to the captains we've had, which just the past 2 years now, or like this, I know this is my third year, but the past 2 years now, looking up to the captains we knew that were Jess and Lou, I just feel like is already just those are massive shoes to fill in general when you look at like what leadership stands for, the things that they stand for, the things they speak up for, the people they are and the players they are on the field. I just feel like it's hard to emulate that. They're both one of a kind. So I think in general, when I've been sharing this a lot with teammates because everyone's like, okay, Cap, and I was like, I walked in and I saw that flag and I was like, oh, okay, where'd my locker go? Because like I usually I'm in that spot. So I like looked up at my name and I was like, oh, and then I looked back down in my locker. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, and I looked around. I was like, oh, are we sure? Like, really? So that's just like that was the honest reaction. But going back to like just like the journey of it, I'll even take it back to club briefly. Is like I was a captain for all of my like beside from like basically like ECNL U14 days up until we went to college. Like I was always a captain. It was just a role that I don't know, teammates just like I was never someone who like is gonna put myself out there like I want to be a captain, I want to be voted as a captain. It just always kind of came and like I just always had that trust of teammates and I like to my favorite animal is an octopus and I know I've said this before, but like I like to describe myself as that. I like to have a lot of tentacles in different groups of people. So I like to reach across a lot of teams that I'm on and not just like have one group that I'm with. So I guess that kind of always gave the perception of like we trust you. We like you set a good example. Like you show in your style of play, you show on and off the field like your qualities of a leader. So I'll take it back. Yeah, that those club days is when that kind of like got brought into my life. Um, Reflecting on UW really quick was I was a captain for 3 of my years at UW, 3 out of the 5. And the first year I became a captain, I was the younger one because they always wanted one to be able to like kind of pass the torch to. And for me, that was the year that I didn't even play. So I was kind of like, I had teammates voting for me to be a captain when I wasn't even performing at the time. Like it was after my ACLs of things. Like it was like I had 44 games in total in college. So it's like my performance on the field was never what showed myself as a captain. It was always kind of what I was doing off the field. Like with teammates' trust and just like things like that and being like an example for that. Because obviously the workload I put in off the field for my ACLs and that journey itself, that all had to show for itself when I wasn't playing soccer. So I found a really big role in that in general of like I've worn a lot of different hats. I've worn the hat of not starting. I've worn the hat of being injured. I've worn the hat of coming off the bench. I've worn the hat of starting. So and at all levels across my journey of soccer. So yeah, so I just feel like to get up to then this moment is I never expected any of that coming into the Reign or like even in the league. Like there's a lot of great players that you're like, hey, you instantly kind of can pick out the leaders and the dominancy on each of the teams with the personalities, or just who's been the captain years in, years out. So yeah, so this moment for me, I feel like this weekend was kind of surreal just because I was like, I've looked up to so many of these players and even our leadership group, like you've alluded to, like we have a wide range of people that it's like they put themselves out there to be voted by the team. So it was kind of like, okay, you got to kind of step out of your comfort zone at first and be like, I want to be chosen. But then, which I said, I already alluded to, I never liked to do that. I always would rather have people just pick me and then I don't have to worry about being like, yeah, I'm interested in it. Um, but yeah, I just feel like the group we have for leadership, it's a good we have young, we have internationals, we have the experienced, and we just have a mix of everybody. Like I said, injured, not. So it's just like it's a good variety of like what the team voices in itself, which is ultimately like what I've always loved to stand for with that. Um, but yeah, no, I just feel like I was beaming with happiness. I got tons of pictures of it. Like I was like this it was a really big moment for me and it's like I felt also just a sense of comfortability because like I've said I've been in those roles and it wasn't like it was foreign to me, but it was just it meant more that it was an honor that that was what got picked or like I was someone who got picked and was in the forefront of people's heads when they thought of who to pick for captain this weekend. So that was it was definitely a top moment for my career, especially everything I've gone through up to this moment. And I honestly haven't alluded to all the like people and leaders I've had before me and with me and alongside me. So yeah, Lou and Jess are a big part of that. I think even when Lou gave it to me in Chicago, I was like, okay. There was one game before that that I went in the last like 10 minutes too, and she went off and I was the closest to her and she turned to give it to me and I put my arm like this and I like turned my head and she was like, you did not want to take it. I was like, I was like, that was the last time of the game. Like, but it was just, we joke about it now, but it's like, I am comfortable for it, but it's nice knowing, I think, slowly these past months and years at this team and with these people, the trust that they've put in me and the growth that they've seen from me is really heartwarming. So I can't speak highly enough about how that feeling was this weekend for this friendly. It was amazing. So yeah.
To kind of wrap it up, you've talked about the leadership group. Can you maybe take us through your reaction to being named to that leadership group and your mentality being the
Hmm.
leader with this club? Because I know there's different ways to lead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so the leadership group, yeah, basically once the team voted, Laura kind of got in front of everyone and said like, "Hey, here's who got the top votes, whatever it was," and then we had an alternate. So I was actually the alternate. So I actually didn't get picked initially for the leadership group. So we had it's like Ainsley, Lynn, Jordan, Ryan Brown, Veronica, and then obviously Lou and Jess are in that because they join with like a lot of those conversations being like the club captains. Um, and then Veronica getting hurt, unfortunately, at the beginning of season, it was kind of one of those things where like she gets to then focus a little bit on like her life, her rehab base, but like she's still a part of that group and she's like honestly the most organized person I've ever met. I'm so thankful for her in that sense. Um, and she thinks of the questions that no one else does. But I basically got told after that Coachella trip, like once Veronica got hurt, that I would no longer be the alternate. I would kind of fill in her spot. And then, like, I could, even though, and then because people are fluctuating in and out, like Jordan and Lynn go on international duty, Ainsley goes on younger international, like things like that. I feel like it made sense to have the alternate still step in a lot of ways. So I actually was the alternate and got promoted up. So, it was fine though. When Laura told me I was an alternate, I was like, great. I'm here whenever you need me. It's kind of like filling the role of when I've filled it for when I'm coming off the bench, when I'm not suited, but then have a chance the next week to prove myself, whatever it is. I've had those skills throughout my whole career and life of being like, here's what your role is now. And I'm like, great, we're gonna embrace it. And then whenever you need me, call me up. It was a lot quicker of a call up than I was expecting, but I was here for it. And yeah, definitely prepared. So yeah, so that was kind of my reaction. So it was embrace the role when I had it, and then as soon as I got the call up, then it was yeah, whenever I had felt like everyone was ready to take me in, and then we went from there. So it was good. It's fun to be a part of it now, and yeah, like I said, it's nice to have so many different voices that allude to what the whole team opinion is. So it's a really nice group to have with a lot of different personalities and roles, and yeah, from that aspect. So it's great.
And then my last one to wrap you up here. Since you've been at UW and obviously now with the Reign, you've been part of this somewhat, I don't know if I'd call it a renaissance, but this boom of women's sports in Seattle. You know, most notably, obviously, PWHL Seattle's coming in. They're going to bring women's hockey professionally here. I guess just, as someone who's part of it with the Reign and the success of the Reign and obviously the rebrand back to the Queen, as well as maybe a fan. I know a bunch of Reign players will always be at Storm games.
Hmm.
See if we can get you out to some hockey. Just what has it been
Yeah.
like for you to
Oh, love the
experience,
hockey.
the growth of women's sports even further, in Seattle?
Yeah, I'm just excited. I mean, it has been unreal. I just feel like and I mean, this could be biased, but I just feel like what better place for this to all be happening? I mean, literally, when you look across the whole board of the U.S., like it's not like I mean, yeah, like we want it to like take over, and we want yes, like women's sports everywhere, and we want all like any city and every city with that fan base to be able to have the experiences we have here in Seattle. But I just think Sports City Central, I'm here for it. I'm just excited to continue to watch it grow. I'm excited just not only from here too, but from a league standpoint too, just about the NWSL as well. Like we're expanding more in that realm and like just like in general, I feel like that also just takes off such a foundational moment for a lot of these other teams and clubs and sports to just start to like slowly progress. I mean, I'm going to use my hometown for example, Denver getting a team. They're the first women's pro team in the state. So it's like for them to already start that, then it's like it's exciting to then what can show like, okay, now get them a women's basketball team and now get them, yeah, a hockey team. And so things like that. I just feel like it's very exciting to watch it happen. And it's been amazing to have a front row seat here in Seattle because I truly do I do mean it when I say it that like this is like there's no better city for stuff like this to be happening, and I've been very excited and very blessed to be a part of this like team and culture and women's sports era of this big boom. I mean, yeah, I got drafted in the first women's sports bar for like everyone that everyone knows. So I just feel like for me that moment's just even bigger because of my experiences here in Seattle, especially. So I'm excited for the trajectory that not only it's going to have here, but just across the board. So yeah, I think we're at a really good foundation for it. So